We're here at number 10 Downing Street in Westminster, covering the Stand Up to Racism demonstration.
This demonstration is for UN Anti-Racism Day. It's been happening in Britain since 2014, but I was particularly motivated today by the Tories' policy on asylum, essentially outlawing asylum in Britain. Suella Braverman is out in Rwanda trying to extend a policy which is denying people the right to claim asylum.
Our government is using division and hatred and stirring up right-wing rhetoric and emboldening racism amongst that part of society, the most ugliest part of British society.
There are 100 million people around the world who could qualify for protection under our current laws. Which party is serious about stopping the invasion on our southern coast?
This government is using the language of Germany in the 1930s and the Nazis in the 1930s to blame the other. Don't pick on refugees. How dare you? That's the basest thought of politics, but it's what they always do.
We know who the real criminals are. It's not the people in small boats. It's the millionaires who are ruining this country and this world globally. Stop using words like swarming and invasion. You know, they know quite clearly what they are producing by using those kind of words of hate.
Britain is one of the richest countries in the world. It's absolutely clear it should be doing its duty in supporting asylum seekers, often coming for countries that Britain has been in conflict in their country. So we have a responsibility to asylum seekers, and we have a responsibility to use language that is not demonising and derogatory.
Nobody leaves home unless they have to leave home. Human beings like to stay close to their home, close to their families, close to their culture. To run away from home is a tremendous wrench, and people do it when they're desperate.
I'd like them to sit face to face with these refugees that they are treating like subhumans. I'd like them to sit face to face with them, have a conversation, listen to their stories, and if after that they can look them in the eyes and still say we are sending you to Rwanda, well then I don't think they even qualify as human anymore.
Braverman said down in Parliament, was it last week, that hundreds of millions of people want to come to this country. Why would they? It's not that nice here.
A cost of living crisis is leading to a politics of division. It's leading to a government picking on the most vulnerable in our society, particularly asylum seekers, describing asylum seekers coming to Britain as an invasion. This is language of the far right. So I think it's important at a time, a cost of living crisis where people are desperate, that we don't let racism divide us.
There's a fantastic poem by Wazim Shire. Nobody puts their child in the water unless the sea is safer than the land.
Refugees are welcome here.
No human is illegal.
No human is illegal.
We will not obey exploitation.
Say it loud, say it clear.
I think it's a lot easier to put the blame on refugees, because that way you get to ignore a lot of the things that happen. For example, the 58 billion pound that literally went missing during COVID. No one is talking about that at the moment. Instead, this really catchy phrase of stop the boats is perfect to focus on for them.
Our enemies don't come by small boats. Our enemies come in big yachts. I think the statistic is, since the pandemic, the sales of big yachts have gone up. The problem isn't the super poor, it's the super rich, who travel very freely. They're super mobile around the globe. Even during the pandemic, they didn't stop travelling.
Why are we not paying our teachers, our doctors, our NHS? Why are we not paying them? Why are we letting the billionaires have all of it when there is enough for everyone, including the very small percentage of refugees that arrive here on these shores?
We've taken in over 100,000 people from Hong Kong in the last year, over 115,000 people from Ukraine, and the country isn't overcrowded.
The money's there. It's a political choice. I think austerity was a political choice. Since the start of the pandemic, this is an Oxfam report, 2/3 of new wealth created went to the richest 1%. I absolutely believe the wealth is there in Britain. It's a choice whether it goes into the National Health Service, whether it goes into funding free education, or whether it goes into the pockets of via tax breaks of the richest corporations.
There will be locked away in detention cells or in hotels.
And the racism that surrounds the language in the debate about refugees is disgusting and a disgrace. And so we have to stand up against the far right in our strength, in our numbers, in our unity.
We are literally saying no to people who could make this country better, who could solve a lot of this country's problems. Britain is shooting themselves in the foot. France is shooting themselves in the foot. Italy is shooting themselves in the foot with the way that they are treating refugees and the way they're saying no to people who could actually come and help this country.
The question of immigration is a good distraction, you know. It's very clear. You've had rail workers, you've had NHS workers, you've had teachers out, you know, record numbers of workers taking industrial action at the moment. The government's response has been initially to try and ignore the strikers and not meet their demands for above inflation pay rises.
They want to use hatred for us to you know, focus on people in small boats when we all know that actually what they need to do is sort out and redistribute the power and the money that is there, and actually there's enough for everyone to live well in this country.
Never met a Tory, never met a Tory, never met a Tory now.